You also had a stint with the Chennai Super Kings where you had the opportunity to play under arguably one of the finest tacticians in the modern game, MS Dhoni. Did you have an opportunity to pick his brains as far as leadership was concerned, or did you watch him from afar and pick up a few things?
I think it's a bit of both. MS and I would have had a few conversations. I mean, nothing too majorly in depth, but just general conversations. But I think I really sat back and understood how he went about things. And I think the biggest strength that MS has is the respect he's gained from other players.
Right.
I mean, when you look at the Indian team, you look at the Chennai Super Kings, every single member of that team respects him, and that's a case where that guys would push through brick walls for him. When he has that respect and that trust from his teammates, and everybody's just pulling for him. I think that's one of the major attributes of a strong leader. You gotta got that trust and that relationship with your players to know that when you step and cross that line, that war field, that battlefield, that every single member of your allegiance is behind you. And I think that's something that really stands out with MS. He has the backing of his players, the support of his support staff, and everybody is just 100% behind him, and it makes his job so much easier.
How has CSK helped you as a player and as a leader? Can you also share one thing that you took from the CSK environment to your approach as a player and as a captain?
My experience in the IPL has been, wonderful, especially in Chennai. Chennai was my first franchise, and then I had the opportunity to play for Sunrisers Hyderabad and also the Kolkata Knight Riders.
Yeah.
But my first stint was with Chennai, and it gave me an opportunity, and not so much looking at it from a playing angle, but I had the opportunity to mingle with international stars, upcoming Indian stars, current Indian stars, and it was just a great environment to be in to learn. And I was young. I was 21 years old when I played for Chennai, and to learn in that environment for me was beautiful, because you had so many resources in the dressing room to pull on. You had MS Dhoni, you had Dwayne Bravo, you had Suresh Raina, you had Ravindra Jadeja, then you had Mike Hussey, MS Dhoni. Just a few people to call on. And being put in that environment, it's hard not to learn. It's hard not to learn. Even it's hard not to learn from the negative things that you may have seen or picked up, because I mean, we're all never perfect. There's no perfect system. There's no perfect person. So True. There are flaws, and you learn from them. But there's so many different positive things in that environment to pick up. Some of just the work ethic. And I always go back to Mike Hussey and that. I mean, there were a lot of times where Mike Hussey ran the fielding sessions for us. And we had a fielding coach in Steve Rickson, who was excellent. Right. And Hussey was basically the crash dummy, for lack of a better phrase. And he's the guy who really, really pushed us in our practice. And one of the things we would always do is try to make sure the intensity is up in the practice, because once that intensity is there, then it's easy to transcend into a game. And Huss gave some very good pointers as to how he anticipates, particularly. At that stage, he was basically at the back end of his career. He was getting older. He wasn't as quick as he used to be. So one of his greatest assets as a good fielder was anticipation. He just basically pinpointed subtle things such as a batsman's bat lift, if a batsman is shaping to play a ball in one particular side. So he knows whether he's anticipating to go left or anticipating to go right, forward or back. It doesn't matter, just based on how he's seeing the batsman set up. And little things like that are just great. And it was really good to see Steve Rickson let Mike basically run it, because sometimes we get caught up from a player's perspective that coaches only keep saying things and keep highlighting things, but they're never actually, some of them are never actually capable of actually demonstrating it. But then for a player to put his hand up and not only put his hand up in practice to run us through it, but you can see in the games he basically practices what he preaches. He goes into the game and does the same exact thing. It's a lot more comforting for you as a player to take in, because this guy has basically shown us that he can do it. You know, and not only telling us here in practice or in practice that he can do it in practice, but he transcends that into the game, and he delivers.